Particle effects. That's my topic today. Who does not like a good particle effect? I don't know anybody. Hello and welcome here on Random Rotation. I hope you're all doing well. Today, I want to show you Particle Illusion, a tool by Boris FX. And good news, it's free. At least the standalone version. Just head over to Boris FX, link is down in the description, create an account, download it, and have fun. And now let's jump right in.
All right, and this is more or less what you see when you open Particle Illusion for the very first time. This area here on the left is to choose and preview particle emitters. We have a preview window right at the top. Right now it is playing back the floating dust 4K particle emitter effect thingy, which you already saw in the intro of this video. Not that it really made sense, but who cares? Underneath the preview window, we can find all the available emitters. Right now, I am working in the library view, which means I have some folders here, and in those folders are all these different emitters. But if you do not like to work in this view, then you can choose to work in list view or grid view as well. In grid view, you can have really huge thumbnails that can come in handy sometimes, but mostly I work in library view. I just like these folders. Don't have to explain myself. And if you know exactly what you're looking for, just type it in here. Let's say dust emitters, and Particle Illusion will only show all the dust emitters. Also worth mentioning is that you can zoom in and out of the preview with your middle mouse button scroll wheel if you have one. Okay, moving on. Right in the middle of the screen, this area here is to change settings. And those settings, right now we only have a camera here, those settings will be visible once we select notes. And those notes can be found in this section here. Right now, I only have the layer 1 note here, but once we fill the stage with emitters, you will see some more notes. Let's click on layer 1 and you can see we now have the option to change settings for the layer 1 note. And clicking here in the empty space brings back the camera. Other than that, we can zoom, we can replace notes, and we can reset this layout completely if we need to. So we have one working area, a second working area, a third, and now this is the fourth. Let me be brutally honest here. I don't know how the Boris FX guys call this window, and so I just call it Graph Editor. And right above it, last but not least, this is the stage. Here we can see what we're working on. Let's now click through a couple of presets so you have a better understanding of what this tool can do for you. Here we have a couple of examples out of the abstract category. This here is a very slow one, but it looks kind of cool, I think. And you can see we have a bunch of emitters to choose from. Background. This one is very useful, I think. Let's say you filmed some green screen elements and now you need some background quickly. You might find something in here. Cartoonish emitters and explosions, of course. I mean, let's be honest, who does not think of explosions first when it comes to particles? Now, let's build something here on our stage. And to do so, it's super easy. You just choose the emitter and then click anywhere on the stage. And there it is. Here we have the corresponding notes. And you see, once I hit play, there we have our explosion. Now we are at frame 145 and the explosion is completely gone. But by default, the projects are set to 300 frames. Our explosion ends at frame 90 something. So let's find the project settings and we can change the duration to 100 frames. I think that should be enough. Apply. And now, once it reaches 100 frames, it loops and plays the animation again. If we don't want this loop mode, we can just turn it off, and then we have to manually click on play again, which is a little bit annoying, I think. I just like loop mode whenever I'm working on particle systems because it makes it much easier, in my opinion at least. All right, cool. Let's bring in some more particles. A second explosion. What about Super Sparkle Burst 3 over here? Once again, here are the nodes, and if we now play this through, we have 2 explosions. But they are not happening at the same time. At frame number 1, or at frame 0, this first explosion starts, and then at frame number 15, there is the second explosion. That's because I moved my playhead here, this little blue thing, to frame number 15 before I placed my emitter. Let's do this again with a third explosion on frame 29. Yes. But if I later on realize that I have to change the start frame for some reason, then I can easily do this down here in the graph editor. I just have to drag it around and find the new starting frame. If you don't like that and you just want your emitters always to start at the very first frame, then you can of course do so by going to the preferences and click on add new objects at frame 0. And that way, you already guessed it, your emitters will always start at frame number 0, not like mine. I haven't activated that function. I really like the flexibility to move around my playhead and to place everything on the fly. And I mean, I can change it afterwards, so no big deal. That's all personal preference, I would say. I mean, where's the difference? Either you have to move this arrow to the left or to the right. Yeah, that's that. Now that we added 3 different explosion emitters to our stage, let me show you something. Well, you might have realized that it slows down after a couple of frames. We start normal and then after, let's say, 25 frames, it drastically, or after 20 frames, it drastically slows down. And that's because we're working with almost 13,000 times 4 particles. That is a lot. Times 4, that's 52,000 almost. But if we deactivate motion blur, now we still have 13,000 particles, but not times 4. And our viewport, or our stage, works very smoothly again. Nice. Now, I do not know if you can see this after the YouTube compression, but the explosions are not completely gone at frame 100. Now I could change it all again and go into the project settings and blah, 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 but I don't really think that it's necessary. You already know where to find the project settings if you need them. Let's talk about the settings, the properties instead. I'm pretty sure that it's obvious, but I cannot explain each and every setting. That would be, I don't know, a 52-hour video. Who wants that? But let me show you one thing. I want to change the color of this second explosion. I think it's a little bit too bright for my taste. So I click on the node to bring up its settings, and then I open the properties, colors, and here I can change the color. You can see we have a little gradient happening here, and I want something a little bit more orange, like so. Not that complicated, huh? And all these other settings and functions. I mean, if you're really interested in a tool like this, just fiddle around with these settings and find it out yourself. It's pretty fun also. Now, one last thing before we render. I activate the HUD, the heads up display, and that brings up all the elements that we have on our stage. Right now, that's only 3 emitters. Emitter 1, that's there, emitter 2, and the third one, our 3 explosions. Now I'd like to add a force field to our little animation here. There it is. It's a node, just like everything else that's happening on our stage. I think I want it to be a little bit bigger. And now let's take a look what that changed. Oh, that's very subtle. Very, very subtle. Well, I haven't tried this before, to be honest. Not in particle illusion. I hope that it works. Maybe we have to animate its position. It starts on the left and then it moves through our explosions, and on frame number 91 we put it on the right. What about that? Now it moves through the explosion. Yeah, that's a little bit better, but we need more strength. That's for sure. Let's bump this up all the way. Ooh. I'm nervous. Whoa. Okay, that was way too much. Way too much. Let's lower it and try again. Ooh, still too much. Who gave this boy a mouse and a keyboard? Man, let's try 400. Yeah, better. A little bit better. But you get the point. Force fields are super fun, worth to play around with, and they really make this whole package more complete. And if that is not enough, you can also work with deflectors if you like. So all in all, a pretty nice package, I would say. Let's render this out. First, I delete the force field, and then here is the render button. I click on it, and then this window pops up. We can define a output location, and that's already the right location. I just need to give it a new name. Explo with only one eye. All right, cool. And now let me change the preset here from ProRes 422 to ProRes 4444 with straight alpha. I need an alpha channel. It is in full HD, which is okay. Motion blur, yes. 30 FPS, why not? Yeah, start render. Particle illusion renders these animations pretty quickly, in my opinion. Done. And now let me quickly show you one last thing before we call it a day. I brought it into Premiere Pro. My explosion, here it is. Let me move it to video track number 2, and now I need a color matte. I don't know, some random color. Doesn't really matter that much as long as it's not black. I place this color matte underneath the explosion on video track number 1. And now watch this. Cool, right? It has a transparent background. That's what I needed the alpha channel for. Without the alpha channel, difficult. But with an alpha channel, super easy. Okay, I get it. My background color is a little bit ugly maybe, but come on.
And that, my friends, is it for this video. I really hope you liked it. And if so, thank you very, very much. I see you in my next video. And until then, stay safe and motivated. Bye for now.